Hrakhamar, a DM's guide from Tomb of Annihilation. If the party approach the volcano from around this area close by to the forge, they bump into 4 albino dwarves, who are led by blunt-talking Scythe Vinecutter. Now she will offer them 20 adamantine ingots in exchange for killing the fire newts that have overrun the forge. Plus, she will give them the location of a crashed air balloon, which is a wreck among some trees. Now Scythe can be encouraged to guide the players through the old forge of hers. So there's a couple of entrances. You can actually go to this place through Wormheart Mine, but I'm going to presume you're going to enter through the main entrance, which is in a state of disrepair. 2 massive doors are hanging off underneath stone-cut carvings of hammer and tongs. So going in, and there's tunnels for a bit, and then stairs, and then tunnels and stairs, and scorch marks all over from the fire newts. And describe the increasing heat of the magma. Even though they've been out in the hot jungle, this is on top. Maybe even consider a heat roll for exhaustion, such as a DC 10 con save or a level of exhaustion. So the sound of rhythmical hammering greets them as they descend. Area 1 we'll start with. Upon entering from the stairs or the rail connecting to Wormheart Mine, which is also mapped if you haven't seen it already, the party see the molten magma and the minecart rails for transportation throughout the mine. And there's also some chains with buckets that can drag ore around, which actually can be used by adventurers to travel around also. But there's a DC 10 athletics check needed, and if you fall, it's 10d10 fire damage. Area 2. A rectangular pit boils with molten iron. 6 dwarven devices filter and purify the metals gathered. 8 fire newt warriors don't detect the party over the cacophony of the work. Now a crane is seen lowering clumps of ore into the molten lava to melt. There are tables around this room also, and there's a pool for cooling the metalwork. A fire newt warrior is AC 16, hit points 22, immune to fire. Makes 2 attacks with a scimitar, +3 to hit, 4 slashing. They spit fire at a creature within 10 feet. It's a dex save of 11, or you take 9 fire damage and 5 on a save. Area 3. In this armoury are piles of dwarven armour and weaponry to be used in case of attacks. But the fire newts prefer their own weapons anyway, so they've left them all here. There's battle axes, great axes, mauls, morning stars. Look, there's whatever you need to place there. And there's 4 suits of plate armour. If the players want to swap their armour for that, that's fine. Now this might alter their AC, don't forget, and possibly give them disadvantage on stealth checks. You'd have to have a look. If it doesn't fit for some reason, they can make it fit with all the blacksmithing tools here. If there's no fire newt to be bribed or threatened to do it for them, and an albino dwarf's not with them, then they can have a go. Just give them, I don't know, a performance check maybe, or maybe they do it and you give a little bit of a fun roll of a d10 of a scale of how bad or how good they've done a job of it. Area 4. This forge has a fire newt warlock overseeing 10 fire newt warriors that are split across 2 different rooms, hammering on anvils. I imagine this crane brings slowly cooling metals into this room, which are then pounded by a stomping automatic hammer in the middle, and then they take bits off and handcraft on anvils. This fire newt warlock is AC 10 or 13 with a quick click of mage armour. Immune to fire, dark vision which can see inside magical darkness, which is unusual. Yes, it can spring on mage armour. Okay. It has Scorching Ray, Hellish Rebuke, it has fiery spells but not Fireball. And it gains 5 temporary hit points when it knocks a player out. The Morning Star is +3 and it has 5 piercing damage in case spells are stopped in some way. Then in the hallway out here there's a lever that's for the retractable walkway. There's a lock trap over there which triggers this lever to lift and retract the walkway to the left. 5. These rooms smell horrible. The fire newts have looted a load of stuff, but they've left all the padding and the clothing and rags to make nests out of. Top left, no fire newts. Top right, 3 Fire Newt Warriors. Bottom left, 4 Fire Newt Warriors. Bottom right, 2 Fire Newt Warlocks. Arguing over something. In 6, 2 filthy suits of armour stand next to a door with 2 locks. The top lock is adamantine and shaped like a rune. It's dwarvish for beginnings. The one underneath it was gold, but it's been picked off of its gold plating. It's in the runish word for endings. Now you can Thieves' Tools this with a DC 20, but the keys aren't on people, they're nowhere to be found. It's quite clever this, because round this corner is a discarded box in the shape of a book, and it has beginnings on one side and endings on the other. Opening that up, you have 2 moulds for keys, and you can make keys here, can't you? So that's quite a nifty little idea, I like that. Now if you're lockpicking away and you fail the results by 5 or more, a trap of retracting the walkway happens. So these keys though, there's an intelligence check to the crafting for somebody who is proficient with smith's tools, but dwarves and fire newts can do it automatically. The players don't need to get into this room, it's not important, but if they do, there's thousands of ingots inside. Gold ingots are worth a single gold. Adamantine ingots are worth 10 gold. Now Stithy will only allow 20 ingots to be taken as a reward, if she's there. But you have to also be reasonable about this. How much of this metal ingot pile can be taken before you're over encumbered? Even if you don't use over encumbrance, it's just like there's only so much heavy metal you can feasibly carry. I'd possibly allow each character, just as a number, roll a d20 and a d10 and add them together. That's how many you can physically carry. Could end up being 2, could end up being 30. But on the crate nearby sits a big gauntlet, which is worth 2.5 grand at least, if sold to the right person. In 7, a crudely metalwork statue of a fire newt has 4 warriors worshipping here. This statue could also be melted down for ore and money, but who'd bother? 8. These smoke-filled tunnels are simply traps to collapse party members. 2 smoke methods create a situation where you need to do con saves of 10 in these heavily obscured corridors, or you gain a level of exhaustion, and 6 levels of exhaustion means you asphyxiate and you are dead. There's nothing more to it than that. In 9, we have prison cells with 2 dwarves here, tied up, gagged, blindfolded, and on 1 health point each. Now Laz, the dwarf, could recover, but I'm afraid Malkar has gone loopy, and he's just mad, screaming and babbling when you take his gag off. We have the way to Wormheart Mine, which, if taken by minecart or on foot, you will have to run carrion crawlers and later on giant spiders before they start running into the kobolds who occupy Wormheart Mine. Now Scythy and the prisoners will both know that Wormheart Mine is actually the base, the lair of Tinder the Red Dragon. I would try and let your players know that. Or not, your choice. Area 10. Minecarts are here along with 10 giant striders who are all roped up and tethered to the wall. And they break free if they're agitated by non-fire newt interlopers. Now it suggests 1d3 breakout every round for the fight. I'd possibly roll 10d4s this first round, and anyone who gets a 4 breaks free. But, you know, they both work the same, I suppose. They're released in waves is only the point. A giant strider is a large monstrosity, AC 14, 22 health, speed of 50, also immune to fire. In fact, it doesn't take damage from fire, it gains hit points equal to the fire damage dealt. Bite of +6 for 8 piercing. Fire burst hurls a gout of flame 60 feet. Each creature in a 10-foot radius of that makes a DC 12 dex save, takes 14 fire damage, and things catch on fire. That's all pretty cool.